And we're going to have 4 plates with 10,000 cells. And of course, we got to have a control. And then we're going to have one that you will irradiate 10 seconds, 20 seconds, and 40 seconds. And another group will have a control, and you'll irradiate them at 15 seconds, 30 seconds, and 60 seconds. So ultraviolet light is the only non-ionizing radiation that causes mutation. So it's not very strong. Ultraviolet light is not very strong. Matter of fact, you can put on lotion and protect yourself from ultraviolet light. Put on lotion. So, but if the ultraviolet light strikes your skin and long enough, it can actually kill cells. Anybody have you all talked about thymine dimers? Yeah, that causes 2 thymines to cross-link. So it can actually cause problems during replication unless it's corrected. So ultraviolet light can cause mutation. And actually, from the white light spectrum, blue light from the white light can actually cause an enzyme to be synthesized that will correct the mutation. So what you're going to do, I have a UV lamp back in the back, and notice I have the light off. I have a UV lamp, and what you're going to do is after you put the 10,000 cells on the plate, the control will not get irradiated, or you can irradiate with the lid on because it protects the cell. The UV can't get through. But if I remove the lid, irradiate 10 seconds, then I put the lid back. And the same thing for 20, same thing for 40. I can compare this with my control as to how many cells grow, how many cells should have grown if it had not been for the UV. So what I expect is a decrease in the number of cells there. And probably, maybe at the high, if cells grew here, they may be mutant. So I can take cells from this one and put it on minimal media. If it doesn't grow, then that would be a mutation. We have induced a mutation. So that's what we want to do, is induce the mutation. Next week we'll test to see if we did induce a mutation. And so the biggest part of the lab is trying to get 10,000 cells on your plates. So some of you remember doing this. This UV hemocytometer, and most of the time we actually count for yeast, because the cells are so small, we usually count the number of cells in that middle one.
And then multiply it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Count the number of cells in this middle grid and multiply them, see the total number of cells. Actually count like 5 squares in that middle one. And so you got your total. And get your average. So you want to get the average of those 5 squares, then times 25 times 10,000, and that will give you the number of cells per milliliter. So if you go to this middle one, count 5 cells, get the average, multiply it times 25 times 10,000, that will give you the number of cells per milliliter. And that's what you're after, the number of cells per milliliter. And so some of you will get something like this, 6 times 10 to the 7. Somebody else may get 2 times 10 to the 6. And somebody else may get 4 times 10 to the 8. But everybody's going to get different numbers after they follow through that. And so we're going to actually have 5 groups. So you can you'll separate yourselves into 5 groups. And if your group does get this one, let's say 6 times 10 to the 7, that's your stock. And so resuspend it, shake it up, and your dilution for this one will be 1 mil of stock plus 5 mils of water, and that will give you 1 times 10 to the 7. And although we want 10,000 cells, what I want you to do is get that number, that 1 times 10 to the 7, down to 1 times 10 to the 5th. If you can get that number down to 1 times 10 to the 5th, we're almost there. But to make that first dilution for that one, just take 1 mil of stock and 5 mils of water, and that will give you 1 times 10 to the 7. And then you take from that, you take 1 mil of that plus 9 mils of water. That will give you 1 times 10 to the 6. If I do it again, that will give me 1 times 10 to the 5th, and that's what you want. What will I do to this one? I will take 1 mil of stock plus 1 mil of water, and that will give me 1 times 10 to the 6. How do I get that down to 1 times 10 to the 5th? What is it? Yeah, 1 mil of stock, your new stock, and 1 mil of water, that would be 1 times 10 to the 5th. So what will I do 4 times 10 to the 8th? What will I do? Right. And that will give me 1 times 10 to the... There is an easier way, but we'll discuss that one a little bit later. But that's what we're going to do for now. And then put, from the last step, you always have to keep shaking it up. Your last step is to put 100 microliters on your plates. On each plate, each of your 4 plates, 100 microliters. And we have, somewhere around here, this will be your sterile water. We have these things that we call a hockey stick. And I'm going to contaminate this one. That's what you spread that 100 microliters on your plate. So when you finish, you just take your plate and spread it, and then you're ready to irradiate it. Remember I was telling you about the UV light. So once you expose it to UV